Update 8 for Forza Motorsport is here for the month of May, so I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about the update, which includes the game content and the bug fixes and improvements. So to start with the game content, for your career events, the featured tour is going to be Track Toys Tour, which will also feature the Ginetta Juniors, Weekend Warriors, Kit Caterhams, and Track Toys. As for the Open Class Tour, that's going to be a 1960 celebration through D Class, C Class, B Class, and A Class. For the reward cars for the Track Toys Tour, it's going to be the 2019 Porsche number 70 Porsche Motorsport 935, and for the Open Class Tours, that's going to be the 2011 BMW 1 Series M Coupe. The Spotlight cars is going to be the 2019 Ginetta G40 Junior, the 2015 Porsche Cayman GTS, the 2013 Caterham Superlight R500, and the 2019 Elemental RP1. The VIP discount cars are going to be the 2014 BAC Mono, the 2016 Lotus 311, the 1996 Porsche 996 GT1, the 1994 Mazda Miata, and the 2016 Brabham BT62. For your multiplayer events for the Spec Series, you've got the Lotus 311 Spec Series from May 15th, the Early Factory Race Car Series from May 22nd, the Mazda Miata Spec Series from May 29th, and the Modern Factory Race Car Series from June 5th. For the Open Series, you've got R-Class Series and P-Class from May 15th, B-Class Series and D-Class from May 22nd, A-Class and X-Class from May 29th, and S-Class and C-Class from June 5th. For the Spotlight series, they are basically the same as the Spotlight cars. So you've got the Ginetta G4 Junior, the Cayman GTS, the Caterham R500, and the Elemental RP1. For Rivals, the Spec Division Forza Touring cars is at Virginia International Raceway Full Circuit from May 15th. For VIP, you've got the Mono A Mono in the 2014 BAC Mono at Yas Marina South Circuit from May 15th. Then you've got Celebrate Senna's Legacy with McLaren in the 2018 McLaren Senna at Silverstone Grand Prix Circuit. For the Spotlight, it's the 2019 Ginetta G40 Junior at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Another Spotlight is also the Porsche Cayman GTS at Mugello Club Circuit on May 22nd, as well as 2013 Caterham Superlight R500 at Grand Oak Club Circuit on May 29th, and the 2019 Elemental RP1 at Lime Rock Full Circuit on June 5th. And that concludes the game content. There isn't a new track until next month. So now on to the bug fixes and improvements. To start off with, stability for all platforms. They have fixed a few things, so a game crash caused by quickly and repeatedly changing the number of driver.ai opponents in free play event setup, as well as an issue that occurred when exiting out of pre-race in free play quickly after switching cars or modifying the event setup would cause a soft lock in the loading screen, a stability issue when the player would exit to event menu while on tracking in during a test drive, and they've also fixed an issue in which disconnecting and reconnecting the controller would prevent the player from progressing to the game menu. For PC specific issues or improvements and bug fixes, they've made some improvements to the video memory usage on PC. They've addressed an issue where the screens would flash white when players entered the My Cars screen. They fixed an issue on Steam where you would repeatedly be shown the self-improvement achievement even when you haven't unlocked it. They've also fixed on Steam where the Safety Star and Safety Superstar achievements would accumulate incorrect progress after a multiplayer race, an issue where the player could not exit out of the career when hovering over event posters and pressing the right mouse button, an issue where exit event messages could not be closed out of using a cancel button, so the beacon or escape key or right mouse click. Selecting replays using the mouse no longer requires a double click. They've also made changes to how PC graphics settings are applied to ensure that only prompted to restart the game when it is necessary. They've also fixed an issue where the player is prompted to restart the game when only the show frame rate toggle has been modified, a PC specific issue where the game would crash when disconnecting a wheel and reconnecting with a controller in featured multiplayer. For gameplay, they've introduced a tire wear scale option to free play and private multiplayer, allowing adjustments to the race at which tires are worn. So 1 times is the default value, then you've got 2 times, which will obviously fall off twice as fast, and they will range from 0.5 times to 10 times, and that setting is found in the event setup rules tab and in the fuel and tire menu when on track. They've migrated the Open Class Tour to Korea from the Builders Cup tab to the Features tab. The Open Class Tour will be found in the Featured tab going forward. They've fixed an issue where lap times faster than 18 seconds on Eagle Rock Oval in Rivals X-Class Time Attack leaderboards were not being posted. They've also fixed the achievement The Leisure Cruise, so it now correctly unlocks when the specified criteria to complete a single lap at Spa-Francorchamps during the sunset has been met. They've adjusted the rolling start in the Builders Cup Power Tour Iconic Muscle event so that cars no longer collide before the 3-2-1. They fixed an issue where players not using steering assist were given control of their car at the wrong time when exiting the pits. They've also fixed a bug in private multiplayer lobbies where players' cars would appear on the track instead of in the pits when the host changes the selected track and while one-on-one players are in the post-race screen. An issue in private multiplayer where timed races didn't mark laps as dirty when driving off track. In featured multiplayer, telemetry now states the correct number of qualifying laps before featured race. They've also fixed where every featured multiplayer post-race transition would only ever show Laguna Seca Art as the next track. Now the player will see the correct track loading screens and continuing from one completed feature multiplayer race to the next event. They've also fixed where the not connected UI pop-up will repeatedly show during sign-in even after a connection was regained, as well as an issue in the settings menu where resetting all options to default values did not apply to the audio performance. Now specifically for multiplayer, the matchmaking and events for all platforms, they've updated the safety ratings in featured multiplayer by increasing the number of previous races the safety rating uses to determine your rating from 10 to 20, and by making the on-track collisions more impactful to safety rating, and changes will affect after your first race in update 8. In addition, they've also improved the matchmaking algorithm to search for a narrower range of safety ratings compared to your own. For example, players with an S safety rating shall no longer be matched with players who have E and D safety ratings. Groups will be connected to matches based on the player with the lowest safety rating. They've also updated the featured multiplayer events to use consistent weather conditions and avoid unpredictable weather transitions mid-race. They've removed the 2020 KTM Expo GT2 and the 2020 Lamborghini Azenza SCV12 from the Forza GT series and added them to the modern factory race car series in featured multiplayer. They've added the 2019 Porsche number 70 Porsche Motorsport 935 to the Forza GT series in featured multiplayer, and the developers have said a note on this and said they're currently working on recategorizing Forza GT race cars into separate spec divisions and expect to push these changes into the game this summer. They've also corrected an issue where the 1969 Lola number 6 Sunoco T70 Mark III-B was eligible for the Vintage Le Mans Prototype Series rather than the Prototype Group Racing Series. Now on to car balancing. The first car balancing update that we've had, as far as I'm aware of. So this is for featured multiplayer spec series. So for the Forza GT series, the 2019 Ginetta G55 GT4 has had some changes. So it's had a engine torque which has been added 25%. They've added 13.4% of car mass. They've taken away 45% of its downforce and 45% of its rear downforce. So I was meant to say front downforce there. Under early factory race car series, the 1997 McLaren F1 GT, they've increased the power by 10%. In that same series, the 1997 Porsche 911 GT1, they've increased the power by 13% and they've lowered the weight and ballast by 3%. And finally, with that early factory race car series, the 1989 Ferrari F40 Competizione, they've increased the power by 10% and the weight has been decreased by 2%. Now on to Drivatar AI, there's just one change under this. They've reduced the unnecessary braking scenarios for Drivatar AI opponents. Examples of this include braking while attempting to pass two cars wide in corners, at the apex of corners and on straights. Now for tracks, they've increased the track material luminance to be more physically correct, improving the overall contrast and color saturation of the track. This affects newly released tracks as well as future track updates. For Maple Valley, they've refreshed the Mobile One Presents Maple Valley Race Day branding, which now includes the new track signage featuring Mobile One. They've fixed multiple pop-up in zones across the entire map on Maple Valley track, as well as the entire Mid-Ohio track. They've also fixed numerous areas across Mid-Ohio where textures were displayed at low resolution or stretched. They placed a barrier along the pit exit at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. To accommodate this change, leaderboards for this track have been reset. They fixed a couple zones near Brands Hatch that were missing or displaying broken skids. They've also reset the leaderboards for Le Mans track layouts following the changes made to this track in Update 7. Now specifically specifically for cars or platforms, the 2016 Ford Shelby GT350R, they fixed an issue where the suspension could be tuned without the drift suspension upgrade. For the 2013 McLaren P1, they fixed an issue where the aero wing wasn't displaying its deployment animation when accelerating after braking for a turn. For the 1992 Volkswagen Golf GTI 16V Mark II, they fixed an issue where the analog speedometer did not match the telemetry. They fixed an issue on select cars where the fog lights or reflectors would instead act as brake lights. This fix applies to the 1998 Toyota Supra RZ, the 2003 Ford Focus RS, and the 1997 McLaren F1 GT. Now, for the livery editor, they've introduced a vinyl material tool to the livery editor, which can be used to uniformly adjust all vinyl materials on a car from matte, non-reflective to glossy reflective. This includes a reset option to revert all vinyls to match all car paint glossiness, and imported designs from Forza Horizon 5 using a similar feature will automatically inherit these values. When removing a livery from a vehicle, the color will now be reset to the default manufacturer color instead of the color when the player purchases it. They've adjusted the arrangement of the hint buttons in livery editor at the bottom of the screen. They fixed an issue in the livery editor where the save pop-up would not be shown when exiting after flipping a decal or creating a mask from a layer. The Find Designs menu is now accessible for rental cars when players try to open it from the design and paint menu, and livery mode select scenes. They've also fixed where the game was creating empty base model liveries. Forza based liveries will no longer be created and stored unless it is the current livery in use. They've added iconography to layers in the livery editor. The player can now see icons to indicate if it's a mask layer or a locked layer. The background values, so the position, scale, color, etc., will not change when the player is navigating through the lighting options panel. They fixed some issues when flipping the rotation of vinyls in the livery editor, and to prevent zooming of camera of the mouse is over the livery color selector in all color modes, so that's normal, manufacturer, special for consistency. They've also addressed an issue where player brake calibers were displaying the wrong color and so the expected special colors. They've also fixed an issue in the design and paint menu where non-block color vinyl shapes ignored mask effects. For accessibility, the screen narrator now properly narrates the place in car bay scene. The screen narrator will now read associated credit bonuses as part of the option value names of free play advanced options, which affect credits earned during the event. This change also fixes the display of the bonus percentages for all players. They fixed the intermittent failures of screen narration to read the tab names in the Builders Cup series selection scene. The screen narrator now fully supports the series standings leaderboard scene access from the Builders Cup event setup scene. The screen narrator also correctly reads the driving assist modal pop-up for new players during the initial races of career mode. And finally, for the screen narrator, they will now always correctly read the data out IP address and port settings in the gameplay and HUD settings menu. They've also fixed an issue with the screen narrator reading DLC packs descriptions twice in purchase option menus, as well as added a descriptive text for the SoundCloud driver suit, and the tune setups menu is now fully narrated. And finally, for localization, they fixed an issue where several words were not translated when using the SVCE Swedish to Swedish language. They fixed an issue causing hint button text to exceed the text boundaries in several languages. They fixed typo in screen narrator voiceovers in Portuguese Brazil when viewing car info panels. They fixed an issue that caused text overlay to overlap in the fuel and tyre setup screen when the text size is set to largest and the language is set to Finnish Finland. They've also fixed an issue where the word pause is not translated in Japanese Japan. They've also fixed an issue where the word hardcore is not translated in several languages. And finally, they fixed an incorrect character in Taiwanese Mandarin Taiwan that caused fuel and time menu categories to be mistranslated. And that's it. That's everything we know about Update 8 that's now available for you to download and to play. What do you think about the updates? Good, bad? Are things in there that you wanted, not wanted, and what do you want Turn 10 to do next? Put that all in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful and like to see more content like this one, make sure you are subscribed. As well as Forza Motorsport, I make other simulation and racing based content around patch notes, news, and keeping you all up to date on all the latest games. And if that interests you, you can stick around and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.